All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. If you're coming on live, I want you to hit that like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know Prophet Ramon, the squad. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta on this beautiful Tuesday, March the 29th, 2022. So please hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly and everybody. Invite them to join you for today's show because it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to be dropping some bombs. Like this whole show is going to be based on me dropping bombs because today's show is going to be centered around my biggest takeaways from the recent 10X business conference that I just came back from attending in the M, the I, and the A. That would be Miami for those of you that don't know, the beautiful 305. So please hit the like button, hit the share button, tag somebody and let them know the Ramon Preston Show is live and we're here today in person, Tuesday, March the 29th. And guess what? It's an amazing Tuesday. It's a terrific Tuesday. In the words of my wife, she's always saying, it's terrific Tuesday. So guess what? We're going to call it terrific. If she calls it terrific, we call it terrific. So welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to the Ramon Preston Show. If you don't know, now you know. I'm your host, Ramon Preston, every Monday through Friday, unless I'm in Miami or somewhere attending a conference or enjoying life. Otherwise, every Monday through Friday right here on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and whatever other platforms that we have access to, we come to you with this show to share information with you that is designed to help you start and structure whatever it is that you're doing, your business, your ministry, your income streams, and your wealth building dreams. All the information that we share with you on this show is a direct extension of my life personally, and it is an extension of the divisions that make up our organizational enterprise. So we have a business and financial consulting division where we help individuals and entrepreneurs and small business owners properly start. That is, we help them file and form their paperwork for their holding companies, their LLCs, whatever their businesses are. We help them structure their companies, meaning that we provide consulting and coaching to see to it that whatever entity that you file and form and start up, that you have the right systems built into that entity, like sales systems, marketing systems, financial systems, and operational systems. Because when you're able to properly start and structure a business, it will make it easier for you to scale it at some point, whether you're scaling it into 6 figures, whether you're scaling it into 7 figures and beyond. But it's all built around starting and structuring it. And so all the information we share with you, it is a direct extension of our consulting division, our coaching division, and our training division, which, by the way, if you are a client in our coaching program, if you are a mentee in our mentorship program, if you are a student on our university training platform, guess what? You get access to all of the same information. You just get it in different forms. So if you're a licensee, if you are being trained to become certified as a coaching consultant under our university training program, guess what? You still get all the information because we want you to win. We want you to succeed. And that's what we've continued to do with the people that we come into contact with. So if you, I'm going to say this at the onset of this show, if you are an individual and you are having challenges, if you're struggling with starting your business correctly, you don't know how to file it and form it, you don't know if you need a holding company, an operating entity, you don't know if you need 1 LLC or 2 LLCs, I want you to reach out to me today. I would love to take a few minutes to walk you through our assessment that we use to help you identify with what type of structure you need, what type of systems you need, what processes you need so that you can actually succeed. If you're an individual who's already started a LLC or a 501c3, but you're glitching, meaning that you're really not getting the wheels turning, you ain't seeing revenue generating, you ain't making money, you might be a little uncertain about your products or your services. You might have products and services that are good, but you don't know how to properly price them. Maybe you don't know how to introduce them to the market. Maybe you don't know how to talk to leads and prospects. Maybe you don't really know how to market yourself or brand yourself. I want you to reach out to me today. So I want to give you the information now, so when the show ends and you know you need help, you know you need support, you know you need assistance in either starting your business, structuring it, or building an infrastructure with systems and processes, I want you to text today. I want you to text the word millionaire. Text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Again, I want you to text me the word millionaire while we're here in the office today. Text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. 7213, and we're going to take a few minutes to talk with you about what your business is, what your ideas are, what your products and services are, what you are intending to do in 2022, and we'll let you know what we can do to help make that happen for you and to assist you in that. All right, so today, on this Tuesday, March the 29th, I've been in Miami since last Thursday. I actually flew in this morning. So last Thursday after the show, I flew out to Miami, and I've been there ever since, up until this morning. And I was a part of the 10X conference that Uncle GC, Grant Cardone, hosted. My company and we've been a part of his business ecosystem for over a year, probably before then, but we officially joined his coaching and mentorship program to expose our company to not only different groups of people, but to expose our company to winners, to individuals who have become successful. And we're talking about successful in the form of revenue. We're not just saying they successful because they got a nice marriage and they just love people. No, they're successful because they're millionaires, they're multimillionaires. He is a billionaire. A lot of the people that are around him are either multimillionaires, hectomillionaires, or even billionaires. And so things change when you put yourself in environments with people who have already succeeded. They've already figured a lot of it out. And now you just have to be willing to pay the price to get in their presence, to get in those rooms. And so for me, I was willing to pay the price to get in those rooms. I was willing to pay the price to get into those circles. I was willing to pay the price to expose my people to what our organizational enterprise is going to look like as long as we continue to come here and show up every day and give people like you the value that you deserve. And guess what? This past week was absolutely amazing. And so I wanted to give you some of my biggest takeaways from this conference. So remember, we got there last Thursday. They had an amazing welcome party. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all day, we were just being really just being engulfed with information, with data, with stories, with intelligence concerning business and entrepreneurship and financial literacy and wealth building and investing and everything that will assist us in becoming more and more successful. And so I just extracted a few of my biggest takeaways, and I want to share those few takeaways with you, because guess what? Each of these takeaways reflects a different aspect of your business, a different aspect of your finances, and how you're going to have to gravitate towards people who are in places doing things that can reinforce what you know deep down in your heart you're supposed to be doing. So let me give you some of the people that were actually lined up who spoke or who was interviewed. Of course, we had GC, Uncle G. He's the GOAT, Grant Cardone. He was the host. We had his beautiful wife, Elena Cardone. We had his two daughters, Sabrina and Scarlett. We had one of our sisters in our community, Stormy Wellington. Some of you may know her as Coach Stormy. She spoke. She crushed it, did an amazing, like a spectacular, a phenomenal job in delivering her message. We had Tillman Fertitta. He is the owner of the Houston Rockets. We had Tim Story, who's a powerful celebrity coach, motivational speaker. He's really a preacher in his own right. We had the GOAT of preaching, Bishop T.D. Jakes. He spoke. We had the boss from 305, Rick Ross. He got interviewed, and what he shared with us was absolutely spectacular, especially coming from his perspective. We had Lloyd Franklin. He is the former CEO of Goldman Sachs. Guess what? Man, Donald Trump was there Friday. Grant, I don't even know how he pulled that off. Like, the first speaker of this conference was Donald Trump. So we all came in there, you know, they was wanding us down, and, you know, they were just like, they had TSA agents, they had Secret Service agents, they had bomb squads, and we like trying to figure out who in the world is getting ready to pop up on this stage that we need all this. And out comes Donald Trump. And I got to be honest with you, despite your political views, because that is really not what matters the most right now. What matters the most is I sat there open to just listen to a businessman share his stories and share his information from a business perspective. And guess what? One of his biggest takeaways, I think, is something that we should start with today. All right? I'm going to give you the biggest takeaway. So whether you like him or not, take this takeaway. If you don't take it, then that's your business. Just pass by it and find another takeaway. But one of the things that Donald Trump said when he was being interviewed was that he had to go with his gut. He had to go with his gut. I think that's a big takeaway. Don't you think it is? Like, if you get all messed up in your political views, like, I'm a black man from the hood, okay, sitting in an event where it's predominantly white people, and I already know how people in my community feel about people like Donald Trump. I already know how people in my community feel about white people. But guess what? I'm half white, so it don't matter. I talk about both sides either way. But guess what? He made a powerful point when he was being asked by Grant Cardone about his upbringing and how he got into the business, how he got his start, how he got his exposure. Because even though his father helped him get his start and get his business going, but how did he get exposed? He got exposed because he went with his gut. So if you're gonna write down a takeaway, I want you to write that down, especially as an entrepreneur. Okay? Go with your gut. Go with your gut. Go with your gut. Now, here's the thing. I want to give some context to this, because I don't want you to be around here acting like an idiot and then you telling everybody, oh, well, Prophet Ramon told me to go with my gut. No, you're an idiot if you're just going with your gut and you don't understand the context of what going with your gut actually means. Okay? Because his point was, even though he had in his gut, in his instinct, to put his name on a building. He bought a piece of property, he acquired this piece of real estate, and he was getting ready to build this building. He tells this story, right? He was getting ready to build this building, and the building, or he bought it, but he was getting ready to build on top of it. He bought the air rights to the building, but it was the Tiffany building. Y'all know Tiffany as a brand. Tiffany was a big brand. Tiffany is still a big brand. You know, they have stores in some of the most prestigious places. They sell high ticket products. And so they're a very bougie and sophisticated company. But he was able to work his way into a deal where this building had air rights above it, and he knew that the number of floors could go up. So he knew he could build up. It was an awesome strategy that he had. But in his gut, he wasn't sure if he should name the new building Tiffany Tower, because that's what he bought the rights to do. He bought the rights to call this building Tiffany Tower. So even though he had it in his gut, what helped him go with his gut, which is powerful, this is a powerful takeaway for you. What helped him go with his gut was a good friend that he knew would give him real clear advice on what he should do. So he went to his friend and he asked this friend, who was successful himself. His friend wasn't a bum. His friend wasn't a scrub. His friend wasn't a jealous family member or hater. His friend was somebody who was already succeeding. So they had a specific perspective about success. So that's the context you got to take this in, right? You don't just go to anybody and say, I just feel this in my spirit. I just think I need to go with my gut. And they're idiots. And they're like, yeah, go with your gut, dog. Yeah, go on, sis. Do what you do. Let God use you. And both of y'all crazy. No, you go to people who have sense and who understand success. So when he went to the guy, he asked him, he says, I have the rights to turn this building into the Tiffany Tower, but I think I should do it Trump Tower. And he said, what do you think? And the guy was like, well, you can name the building Tiffany Tower when you change your name from Trump to Tiffany. But until then, you should use your name. Ooh, bada bing, bada boom. So he learned about branding. He learned about ownership. He learned about going with his gut and like stepping into his own for who he was and not trying to hide that or abscond that or move from that. So that's your first takeaway. Go with your gut. A lot of times, you know, you're supposed to be moving on something in your business. You're supposed to be trying a new idea. You're supposed to be taking this leap of faith and you refuse to, but your gut is telling you to do it. Well, you need to cross-reference that sometimes with people who are already succeeding, people who are already winning. If you go to people who ain't got nothing but food in their gut and they have no dreams, they have no success, they have no reference points for winning, and then you go to them and in their gut, they like, nah, I don't feel that. It's just something about that ain't right. Yeah, because you've never done anything great. So you've got to make sure that when you get the right people in your life and something is in your gut, cross-reference that with them so you can actually go with your gut. I think that's a big takeaway. What do you think? Tell me if you think that's a big takeaway. I thought it was amazing. That was just one of the biggest takeaways that I got. Here's another takeaway. Now, this gentleman was named, his name is Lloyd Franklin. His name is Lloyd Franklin. He is the former CEO of Goldman Sachs. I don't know if you even know who Goldman Sachs is. If you don't, you need to Google Goldman Sachs. This man was the former CEO. And he was responsible for over $500 billion worth of transactions. Did you hear what I said? This one man here, who was the CEO of Goldman Sachs, was responsible for over $500 billion of transactions. So that man was leading a company that had almost $500 billion or over $500 billion in revenue transactions. So obviously this man knows something about finances, about business, about economics. Can we all agree on that? If you were a CEO of a company and you as the CEO were responsible for over $500 billion of transactions, $500 billion, don't you think other people would think that you know something about business? Of course. So what this man was saying was like golden, even though he was the CEO of Goldman, but it was absolutely extraordinary. But here's the point that he made, one of the major points, and I can only use one takeaway for each person that I'm referring to. So here's what he said. He said, there's a reward for risk takers. This was so good. He said, there's a reward for risk takers. There's a reward for risk takers. So he started explaining the people who don't take risks really never see the rewards. And the reason why people are rewarded the way we see them rewarded a lot of times is because they were the people who were willing to take risks. Now, why they took those risks, what security that they had to take those risks is unknown. But nevertheless, they were rewarded because they were risk takers. And so his big takeaway for me was, there's a reward for risk takers. There's a reward for risk takers. Think about that. If you're going to be a risk taker, you're going to be rewarded. If you're willing to do the things other people are unwilling to do, you're going to get rewarded for that. In your business, with your dreams and desires, with your ability and your willingness to get up every day and show up and to try to figure out what needs to be figured out to grow and to expand and to become successful, you're gonna find yourself in compromising positions to have to take risks. But if you take those risks, I want you to hear me on this. If you take those risks, can you hear me? If you take those risks, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. So when you see people on social media, when you see people on TV, when you see people around you winning, understand that they are winning or being rewarded because they were willing to be risk takers. All right? So there's a reward for risk takers. That's a powerful takeaway. Okay? Here's the next takeaway. Uncle G said this. He said so many things. I can only give him credit for one today because he says so many things that are big takeaways. But here's what he said. He said, you and I, we need to get too big. I love this. Too big to fail. Think about that. Think about that statement right there. You should be writing it down. Some of y'all that watch me, you wonder why you don't contain a lot of information or retain it, is because you never take notes. You never write this stuff down. I got notes all in my phone from the last 6 days. And guess what? When I was going through the airport, I was just reading through them, rewatching certain things that I had on my phone. I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. So this is what Uncle G said. Uncle G said, get too big to fail. So his point is, you shouldn't be thinking small and you shouldn't want your business to be small. You should want your business to be too big. Think about that. Because if your business is too big, it may be too big to fail. And Uncle G was telling a story how when the 2008 crisis took place, that he had a bank call him and they were trying to like pull the note on a $50 million mortgage he had on some investment real estate. And he was like tripping because the bank was getting paid their mortgage payments, but the bank was under pressure. And so the bank was coming for at what they felt at the time were the little guys, even though $50 million ain't nothing to smirk at. But his point was, when he started talking to other billionaire friends, they started explaining to him one of the reasons why the bank came after him as a $50 million client was because of the size of his business compared to the other businesses that may have been $500 million dollar businesses or $5 billion businesses. And so he said that taught him one of the biggest lessons of his life, that he was too small And even though he was successful in his own right, when it came to that crisis, he was too small and he was going to fail. They were going to force him to fail. He said, so he ended up getting through that, working things out. That bank ended up going bankrupt, or another bank bought them out, so they went out of business. He kept his business, and he learned that he needed to become massively wealthier so that he could be too big to fail. So you got to think, whatever it is that you're doing in your business, whatever it is that you're doing in your personal life or your professional life, you got to become bigger than life. At least have the mindset to get bigger than life. Even if you don't think it ever happens, you still should have that mentality. And you shouldn't think that it ain't gonna happen. You should actually think and believe it is gonna happen. And you should want it. Most people, it's not that they don't think it's gonna happen, they really don't want it to happen. I talk to so many entrepreneurs, they don't wanna be big. They don't wanna go big. They don't wanna have it all. They don't want to be massively wealthy. They just want enough to be happy. They just want enough to be comfortable. And guess what happens? A lot of times, many of them fail because they were not big enough. All right, my next takeaway. This takeaway came from Rick Ross, the boss. Ricky Rose. Every day I'm hustling. Ricky Rose. I love what he said. Ricky Rose said, you should run your life like it's a business. Run your life like it's a business. And I'm telling you, I want to stop here and say this while you're taking this note. Okay, if you're taking this note, if you're writing down this takeaway, this is what Rick Ross said, Ricky Rose. He said, run your life like it's a business. So Rick Ross came up on the stage, and you know what they brought behind him? They brought his bottles of champagne or whatever type of drink it is. They brought his potato chips. He had on an outfit that was his clothing line. And he was explaining to every one of us in there that he's a walking billboard. He's a walking brand because he runs his life like it's a business. So it's not personal for him or to him. He understands it's a business for him. It's a business to him. So that's very true to things that I believe, and I've said it a different way, but I know I've said it many times to my clients that you need to lend. This is how I say it to my clients. You need to lend your personality or yourself to your business, and stop being so personal as if you're not willing to go all in because you don't want people to feel a certain way about you. It ain't about you. It's about your business, and you need to run your life like it's a business. So that means if I'm gonna run my life like it's a business, I gotta see my life like a business. I gotta understand this is a part of my responsibility, my duty, my obligation as a business man. Ain't that what Jay-Z said? So Rick Ross says, run your life like it's a business. Run your life like it's a business. Now I want to say this to some of you because you're watching me and you know you're having some trouble with your business. You know that you don't have all the answers. You know that there's some things that are going on in your business or in your hustling, and it's causing you to financially glitch. That means there's some barriers, right? And every time you try to move up, you hit that barrier. Then you fall back down. And then you try again and you hit another barrier. Then you fall back down. And then you try again and you hit another barrier. And then you fall back down. And all of a sudden you just get comfortable and say, you know what, I'll just go so far and then I'll just bust a U and come back. And you never break through. And a lot of the reasons why you never break through is because you're not surrounded by the right people. You don't have people who are up here who can actually throw you a lifeline and pull you up so you can get crossed there and then show you how to succeed. And so as a result, you're stuck over here scrapping and grinding and hustling and working hard and aggravated and frustrated and never really making enough money to take care of you and your family and do the things that you want to do. But the difference between you and the people over here is they were willing to allow other people to pull them up. But you cannot allow yourself to stay stuck over here because you don't see this barrier. You may see the money it costs to get across this barrier, the time that it costs to get across, that's supposed to be a clock, the time that it costs, the effort that it costs. But guess what? Nobody over here got over here without giving up money, giving up time, and giving up effort. So I'm really challenging you. If you know you do not have all the answers for your business, but you know something in your gut is telling you that you're supposed to succeed, you're supposed to be a millionaire, you're supposed to be a blessing to your family, you should be better off, you should be further along, well, it's just glitches. And those glitches can be fixed, but you got to put yourself around the right people who are already over here and who already know what it takes for you to get across. You've got to make that decision. And you can't just be able to do it. You got to be willing to do it, and you got to do it. You got to do it. So I really want you to take that into consideration and make the decision today. I hope it's me that you connect with so I can help you over. But even if it's not me, I hope it's somebody that you can find an example in and say, I'm going to go all in with the help of this individual because I think this person is going to get me over this hurdle, over these barriers, and get me to my place of success. That's all I want to do for my clients. And I'm honestly saying that. All I want to do for my clients and for my mentees and for my students and for the people that come around me, my staff, my family, I want to get them over here and get them up there so that they can experience what my wife and I experience every day. Because I know what it feels like to be way down here. I was way down here in this corner. I was way down here. I know what it feels like. The truth is, if this was the bottom of the ground, I was under the ground. I know what it is to be way down there. But for me to be over here on this side, I want to bring as many people as I can to that side. So make sure if you don't have my contact information that you write the number down that I'm giving you and you text me the word millionaire. Because when you text the word millionaire, anybody that texts me the word millionaire, they let me know what they want to be. They let me know where they believe that they belong. They let me know where their spot in life is, at least, at minimum, millionaire. Of course, you may have a desire to be multimillionaire, hectomillionaire, billionaire. I don't know. We're in a world where people are becoming trillionaires. If that's where you want to go, what is your foundation? I would rather my foundation be over here as a millionaire than be over here below zero, because it's harder for me to get over here than it is for me to get to here, from here to there. All right. So text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Don't just be texting me to be hazing me and to be, like, what do you call it? Trolling me. If you're just watching this video and you're a troller, you're hazing, you're just trying to find something to do with your time, don't waste my time or your time or anybody else's time. But if you're serious about getting over this barrier, it may be how you have your business structured. It may be with certain systems you don't understand. You don't understand financial systems. You don't understand sales or marketing or operations, and you're doing it all by yourself, and you don't quite know how to build a business system that you can start getting help and making things a little easier. We have all those solutions for you, and we want to get you over that barrier. So text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Text millionaire to 404-478-7213. TD Jakes, he spoke Saturday morning at this business conference, and man, he's like the GOAT. To me, he's like the GOAT when it comes to preaching. He's an orator. He knows how to he knows how to deliver his messages. And he spoke for about 45 minutes, close to an hour. And when he got to like his last minute, you know how he just rails back and he starts pacing the floor. And he was like, my brothers and sisters. And I was like, uh-oh, he finna give us, he finna drop the bomb on us right now. And in his last minute, he was saying, my brothers and sisters, as I close, as I bring this to a close, he was like, you may have to drop some friends. You may have to drop some family. You may have to drop some people. You may have to drop some baggage. You may have to drop this. You may have to drop that. I'm like, come on, Jakes. I had done stood up. You know, I forgot I was at a business conference. I'm saved. You know, I'm back there speaking in tongues to myself. I'm like, yeah, come on, Jakes. Preach, Bishop. I forgot we was at a business event, and he was like, you may have to drop friends. You may have to drop family. You may have to drop beliefs. You may have to drop ideas. You may have to drop baggage, things that you're holding on to. You may have to drop opportunities that are no longer yours, all this stuff. He says, but whatever you do, he says, whatever you do, he says, never, this was powerful. He says, never drop. Oh, this was so good. He says, never drop the mic. That was a big takeaway for me. He says, never drop the mic. His point was, if you are listening clear enough, this was his point, because his whole message was centered around this. He says his point was, if you are listening clear enough to understand what your purpose in life is, to understand what you were put on earth to do, to understand that even though whatever it is that you want to achieve is difficult, but it is necessary. He says, if you listen to that enough, and you get it in you to the extent that you are then able to be the voice to that thing, to be the voice to your dreams, to be the voice to your purpose. When you become the voice to what you represent because you've listened enough, he says, when that happens, when that transformation happens, that you ain't just listening to it, you have now become the voice of it. His point was, when that transformation takes place, you may have to drop things, you may have to drop people, but his point was, never drop the mic. I caught it, because his point was, he's not just saying don't say anything. He's not just saying never shut up, but never let go of what got you talking in the first place. Never let go of the purpose. Never let go of the dream. Never drop the mic, because what you are saying is a result of what you saw because of what you started hearing. That was powerful, man. Woo! I'm ready to have church on that one. Cheba shata. Woo! Never drop the mic. Oh my God. I don't know why y'all made me do these takeaways. They talked me into doing it. I had another show I was thinking about. I said, well, I got one show I want to do, or I'm going to do some takeaways. And they like, do them takeaways. Now y'all got me ready to preach, because he was like, never drop the mic. Never drop the mic. So if you're listening and your dreams are telling you that you can make it, your dreams are telling you that you can be great, your dreams are telling you, God is telling you, you hear it in your spirit, you hear it in your mind, you hear it in your heart, that you are the one that God wants to use to break poverty, to break generational curses, to end the cycle, to establish a legacy for your family. If you're hearing it enough and you start seeing, that's what has happened to me. I got that revelation a long time ago that I'm the one. I'm the one that's going to break poverty. I'm the one that's going to end generational curses. I'm going to be the first billionaire in my family. I'm going to be the one to put my children on. I'm going to be the one to make sure that everybody around me knows we good because we got him. I'm going to be that. And I started seeing it. So when I talk the way I talk, when I move the way I move, when I say the things I say, when I operate the way I operate, it's a figurative way of me holding the mic, because I'm not just holding a mic to say something, but I'm holding the mic because I'm seeing something, and I'm holding the mic because I'm hearing something. And so if you are that person that hears it, you see it, and you're willing to say it and move on it and act on it, never, ever drop that mic. And that's actually a mic drop moment. But in a different way. Okay, so we had Brother Tim Story. Some of y'all may know Tim Story. He's a celebrity coach. He's a powerful man of God. He actually preached Sunday morning. He really preached. Because his whole message, his speech was based on Isaiah 43. He was telling us to remember the former things no more. Forget the former things. God is doing a new thing. This is what Tim Story was saying to us. God is doing a new thing. But he said something at the back end of his message that it just touched me in a mighty way. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to let you write it down, and then I'll explain what he meant by this. He said, find your I'ma be. Man, that was powerful. I want you to write that down, because this is what he said. Tim Story said, find your I'ma be. Your I'ma be. So here is his point behind this. He was sharing with us how most of us are when we're children. So when you're a child and somebody asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You start telling them all the things you see. You start saying, I'm going to be a fireman. I'm going to be a businessman. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to be a blessing to my family. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be like Superman. I'm going to be a preacher. I'm going to be all these things. He started taking us back to how we were when we were children. And anybody asked us what we wanted to be or what we thought we were going to be, we would start telling them, I'm going to be, right? I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be an airplane pilot. I'm going to be a businessman. I'm going to be an investor. I'm going to be a construction worker. I'm going to be a businessman, whatever it is, a businesswoman. And he said what happens is, as you grow up and start living life, oh my God, he preached that thing. He said you lose your I'ma be. All the things you said I'ma be when you were a child, you lose it. You lose the vision of what you knew you said you were going to be. You lose the vibe and the strength and the momentum, because life breaks you down. You went through a divorce. You got a cancer diagnosis. Your business shut down. Maybe it never took off. You downsized and relocated only to find out that things got worse. You got fired or laid off. COVID hit. Whatever the situation was. But when things happen, a lot of times we lose the innocence that helped us create the I'ma be's. So I say I'ma be a billionaire, but then I start struggling. I'ma be a business owner, but then I find myself living life and realizing that it ain't gonna be as easy as I thought it was gonna be when I said I'ma be. But this man of God was telling us to find your I'ma be. What did you do with that statement you made when you were 8? What did you do with that declaration you made when God touched your heart and you said, I'ma be rich. I'ma be successful. I'ma be somebody. Tim Story said, find your I'ma be. Powerful. Whew, man, that was powerful. He preached that thing. Him and Jakes had an anointing in that room. Some of you may know Tillman Fertitta. He is the owner of the Houston Rockets. He is the owner of the Houston Rockets. Here's what he said. Here's what he said so many amazing things, but he was one of the few people this weekend that used the word courage. He's one of the few people that used the word courage. He's one of the few people. He's one of the few people. And what he was saying was, you need courage to succeed. He says, because when you have this thing called courage, nothing is going to stop you. He said it a different way, but I'm just giving you the easy version of it. He actually made a statement. Here's what the statement was that he made leading up to this. He said, you have to learn to become stronger when the strong become weak. So he says you have to build up this courage, because what happens is there are cycles in business, like there are cycles in life. And when these cycles in business happen, if you have the courage, you're going to live long enough and endure long enough to see the strong become weak, because they didn't have the courage to ride it out. They didn't have the courage to endure the storm. He says, and if you have the courage and you see the strong become weak, that's when the strong can become stronger. So he says your strength gets stronger at the same time that other people who have strength become weaker. But the differentiator between the two is this. It's courage. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. That's the serenity prayer. Courage. You need courage to succeed. If that's one of my biggest takeaways this week, because I know I have courage. I knew I had it. But a lot of times I realized this week that my courage was misappropriated. My courage was misappropriated, or my courage was reserved for the right moment, when I should be deploying courage in every risk that I take, every move that I make, everything that I endeavor to do needs to be infused with courage. Because it's then that I become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and find myself to success. That's powerful. We had Uncle G, his wife, Elena Cardone, her statement, which is a big takeaway. We call her EC. GC is the GOAT, and then his wife, Elena. This is one of my biggest takeaways from her. Your success is in